Hi, welcome to Ketobiography. I'm your host, Robin Dobbins, and I usually do an introduction that I have scripted for myself and I've written down, but this is the third of live interviews with a human next to me. The first being Matt, who is in the room over here, and the second being Dave Feldman when he was in town for the screening of the cholesterol code. And today, if you're watching, you already see him. It's my dad. This is my dad, Rob Harris. He was on a Less of Me Success Stories, so the predecessor to Ketobiography, I don't know, 2 years ago, I think. Episode 8B, if I recall.
6B.
6B, something like that, because I did B's. I don't know why. But if you watch the cholesterol code at the very end, I say, hi, welcome to Less of Me Success Stories, which doesn't roll off the tongue, by the way. And then they show who I'm talking to, and it's my dad. So he made it in the film, too. I guess I can call this part of my cholesterol code series that I did. So this is an addition because he's in the film, so it counts. But I wanted to have you back because we had quite a year. And I think the year, the story, what happened, all of that is just important, an important message for people to hear for how they heal their bodies and what they do to keep themselves healthy. So I just want to turn it over to you for what you would like to talk about, because it's up to you, whatever you want to talk about. You don't have to share absolutely everything, but whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I think it's important to talk about, I got into this low carb community because I was very concerned about my metabolic health, and I was watching my metabolic numbers climb. And it worked out really well. And I mean, everything was back to normal and going really well. It was pretty swimmingly for a couple of years. And then all of a sudden, a year ago in March, I thought I had pulled a muscle in my groin, and I kind of struggled with that and hobbled around for a while. Finally went to a doctor, had him check it out, and turns out I had cancer, and it was metastatic into my pubic plate, and that's why I was feeling the pain I was feeling. And I was feeling a lot of pain. And I was also down to 129 pounds. So they had all the signs were there. Went to the hospital, and they, took me in immediately. Gave me some pain medication and said, well, we're going to do a CAT scan. So CAT scan came over, and he came back, and the doc said, we're keeping you. I said, you've got cancer. You got to find the origin for it. Excuse me. I was there for a week, and I don't remember a lot of this, so I'm going to rely on Robin to bring it up. But I was there for a week, and I got poked and prodded and had biopsies and did all the things that you have to do. And I was determined that I had lung cancer. And I'm a non-smoker. I'm a lifetime non-smoker. I was really careful about what I was eating and exercising and doing those things. And I came down with this. I was in the hospital for 4 or 5 days, and when I was released on a Saturday, Robin flew in on a Sunday, and it turned out to be quite an ordeal. But that very next day, I had my first oncology appointment, and that was on a Monday, and on Friday I had my first chemo treatment. So it went all really quick, but I was very, very sick. As time went on, my doctor said, you're responding really well to your treatment. And he said, and I have to say that I think it was because you were so healthy before this happened to you. And maybe so. I've responded very well to my treatments. But I will say, if you're following your metabolic numbers, and I followed mine really closely, if you really want to screw them up, get chemotherapy. I was out of whack. I have no other way of saying it. Every marker that I was following was just off the scale, and it was for a little while. The the treatment worked, and it worked well, but it takes time to do that, and it takes a lot of help to do that. So for the first time in my life, I felt pretty vulnerable, and I needed a lot of help. So
I'm gonna walk away and get the box of tissues.
And Robin was a big part of my help. She and my wife literally kept me alive from appointment to appointment, and it was a big deal. It really was. So thank you. So there are pieces of it that I don't remember. This started in May. I probably wasn't really coherent again until the end of May, beginning of June, somewhere around there, and I was pretty heavily drugged, and was starting all over. 129 pounds. I lost all my muscle mass. I mean, I used to lift weights like crazy, and it just went away, and I had to rebuild that over again, and it was a long process coming back.
I want to kind of talk about before, because that's like a key piece here, and why this is such an important part of the story is the baseline that you had set for yourself before this happened. Because I think if you didn't have that, I wouldn't be sitting here having a conversation with you today.
Oh, I agree. I can't agree more. Yeah, I worked real hard. I had a couple things go on in my life that made me sit up and take interest in my own health. And one of them was my father died very young of heart disease, and I mean, he had his first heart attack at 32. And I decided, I should probably not do anything that he ever did. So I started exercising. I was in the service. I was exercising. I was eating right, doing all the right things, I thought. The other thing was I had a brother that was just a metabolic train wreck. So I got to see him go through all of his decline, and just saw all the things that he could have done to better his situation and chose not to. And so that was another inspiration for me to do better. And it worked. It came out really well. Everything, I was on blood pressure medicine. I was on Lipitor. I was on statin, my blood pressure medicine, and allopurinol, because I was subjected to gout. I was getting gout all the time. And excuse me, when I started low carb, and it was, I had a terrible gout attack, and Robin happened to be there with me when that happened.
Have fun with that as well, yes.
But she said, this will be the last time you have one of these. And it was. And that was, gosh, it's over 3 years now, right? 3.5 years.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So, I was just doing the right things for the right reason, and it worked out. And then events occur. I got sick anyway. I got cancer from somewhere.
That's an important thing. And going back to the fact that of the film, I traveled around and I got to hear the Q&As after the film, and a lot of people were talking about being ill, but don't worry, I'm eating keto, so I'm going to be fine. And here's the message here is that something could happen. You can't predict what the future is, but you can prepare for it.
Yeah.
You can be prepared for it. And it was hurting my heart to hear people put all of their eggs in that keto basket, because there are other things that are really important, and something still could possibly happen, something that you couldn't predict was going to happen. But how you manage your life beforehand can really change the outcome of that.
And
So you were eating very well, you were strength training, you were walking, you moved halfway across the country to get to a cleaner air environment, and a more physically challenging environment in the mountains. You know, you were able to do the move, but the other stuff you would have done anyway. And that gave you that baseline that I think a lot of people just don't think about while they're changing their health habits. They struggle with maintaining a lifestyle change such as this because they don't see the reason why. See, people will come to me and say, oh, well, you do it. I understand why you do it. Your mental health issues will come back if you don't. Yes, I get an immediate response if I stray off the diet, which I never do. But everyone else who doesn't have that kind of immediate feedback, there's still a reason why. And that is this unpredictable future. It is having a healthy baseline at any age.
yeah,
And if you are hit with something that you could not predict, in your case, lung cancer in a non-smoker, your body had something to use while you were figuring out what was wrong. And yes, it was your muscle mass, but if you didn't have that muscle mass, what would it have had?
oh, yeah. Well, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be having this conversation.
We wouldn't be talking. So that's why I really wanted to talk to you is about that baseline part. But now let's go to, we're a year later. A lot has happened in this year.
Yeah.
And I recall a story of your doctor saying that you're a miracle. And then I would think in the world of oncology, that's probably true to a physician because that's the knowledge base that they have, and they're not in a low carb space, so they don't have these metabolic health conversations. But do you think it's a miracle, or do you think that it was work that you have done alongside the treatment that you received?
It might be a combination of both things. You know, I remember when I had that first appointment, you were there. You know, he said, you know, I can't cure this. He said, but I think I can make you feel human again. And he has, you know, and he knew exactly what to do and all. And it was very supportive and very helpful. And he understood that, you know, I told him we were on a low carb diet and all that kind of stuff. So the biggest challenge for me was regaining weight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I started my low carb diet, I am not a carnivore and I'm not a pure anything, but I do eat low carb. And, you know, when I started it, I lost about 25, 28 pounds, something like that. And I needed to lose it. That was okay. And then, you know, and my weight loss from the cancer happened from that point. And I mean, I was cruising along pretty well. I was 155 pounds and as healthy as I could be. And life was pretty good. And then this happened. We'll talk. I think we should talk a little bit more about trying to gain that weight back, because I think that was a struggle.
Let me just give a shout out to Dr. Ben Bickman and his brother, I believe, that run Health Code, because you know, the doctors were pushing Ensure and all of the very, just, you know, they're filled with
All the
seed oils and trashy sugars. And I was like, I know about this product. I've never had it before, but let's get it and try it. It's a complete meal replacement and should fit within keto macros. And we still mixed it with heavy whipping cream.
I can't look at it anymore.
And I know that's what we were talking about this morning, is that you can't even look at it anymore. But you pretty much survived on that for at least the first 2 weeks after.
Oh, it was longer.
So
I don't remember the first week.
Yeah,
so
no,
it
was rough there for a little while, but that ended up being quite a saving grace for you. You were getting all of your macros in just something easy to consume.
Yeah, it was. Food just didn't appeal to me, and I knew I needed to eat. I knew it cognitively. I knew it, but I just needed that jump start. And she recommended the Health Code, and you had nothing to lose. So we got some, and oh gosh, we were making shakes and pudding, and I don't know. I don't know what else you could do with
If you
it.
could mix that powder into something, we mixed it.
Yeah.
Whatever we could do. And we were about to just pour the powder straight down your throat.
Well, that was pretty weak. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never felt as exhausted as I did right after that first chemo. In my life, I've never been that exhausted.
Mm-mm.
And so, yeah, the health code is what really started me back, and I developed an appetite, and I started nibbling on things, and I craved citrus fruit. So I would eat an orange. I would eat an apple when I felt like it, and I ate a lot of oranges. I think I just got a bag of cuties or something, and I just ate. It started, but at least it started me on the path back, and eventually I put back on 21 pounds of the 26, 7 I lost. So that's a pretty good thing.
And it wasn't just the food, though. You also, right away, as soon as you could, started doing some strength training work. Not what you were doing before, but something to just keep you moving and keep your muscles.
Well, I'm still not doing what I was doing before.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And it's a mindset. You have to commit. If you commit to low carb, it becomes easier. Well, I'm the kind of guy, I'm going to go after it. And I can remember telling my wife in the hospital, saying, I got lung cancer, let's get after this. And so we started. And my mantra is you can't improve, you don't get better if you're sitting on the couch feeling sorry for yourself. Get up and do something. So I got up and did something.
Mm-hmm.
So, excuse me.
I was there for that first month, and someone came in and helped you just with some bands and some very light weights.
Just standing up.
Just movement. Like, some people get a diagnosis and they're like, this is what's in store for me, and I'm just going to sit here and let it happen. This is a conversation that I've been having with actually a lot of people, is this power of hope. The difference between when someone gives you hope and how you approach what's happening to you, and when you don't have it, when you lose hope, and how that shift really changes. I mean, it changes everything. I don't know if it's something that you've thought about, but your doctor, we went to that first appointment, and he was like, bad things happen to good people.
Yeah.
And he said, but this isn't the end. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get you feeling well again. And he touched you, he looked at you, and the way he treated you like a human, like at the end of this, and I think he asked you what you wanted to do in 5 years, and he said he was going to get you there.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, that first appointment, I'm sure you don't remember. You guys, like, he's sitting here next to me, a little weepy, but I feel like that's the only major change. You get a little emotional a little quicker, but at that first moment when I first arrived, I was pushing him in a wheelchair. I mean, he could not walk. He could not stand up. It hit when this thing got him. It got him hard. It got him quickly. And there's a lot of low points. There was a lot of points that you could have just been like, I'm too tired. I'm too tired for this. But I think you always held that hope, and I think that your doctor helped you with that too.
Well, my glass is half full, so I wasn't going to let it beat me. I said, I'm going to die with cancer. I'm not going to die of it. And so whatever I could do, and it was little baby steps, and it took a long time. I was the best part of a year before I could make the trip to come see her. Mm-hmm. And but it was a goal of mine. I set that goal. I want to watch, Laura, Robin's daughter, graduate from high school, and that's what we're doing this weekend. That's what we're celebrating. Mm-hmm. And it was a long time coming. I mean, I couldn't. I had a setback in the middle of all that because of the chemotherapy. I developed blood clots in my legs. One decided to break loose and lodge in my lungs, so I had a pulmonary embolus. Well, there was another couple of days back in the hospital, and And I was put on a drug called Novanox, enoxaparin is what it's called, and you have to take a needle every day in your stomach, or two. I started out with 2 a day, and that's been 9 months. But my last shot is tomorrow. I'm going back on something else on Monday. I'm very happy about that.
Your tummy is happy about that as well.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that. But it's, okay, this is a setback. Let's get after this. What do we do to make this better? How do we improve this? And it was baby steps. I mean, when I started relifting weights, I started with a 9-pound bar and 5-pound dumbbells, and just started. You got to do something. Get off your butt, get off the couch, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and get after it.
And it can be small. This happens all the time. I wish I was doing what I was doing 10 years ago. Well, you're 10 years older, for one, and for two, you've let that go. So you're going to have to start. You have to start at a lower level and work your way back up. It doesn't mean you can't get there, but it's a process, and you have to give yourself that time to deal with the process.
Yeah, you don't get to where you are overnight. I mean, it was a long process to get there, and then you have to tell yourself it's going to take me a while to dig out of this, and but I'll get there. So set that goal, go after it. Just do it incrementally. Do the little steps that it's going to take to get there, and it works out. It works out fine. And I'm still doing it. I'm back up to walking. I used to be able to walk 5 or 6 miles uphill in the mountains, Rocky Mountains. I can't do that like I used to, but my goal is to get back out there. But I can walk 3 or 4 miles, and that's the step. That's the intermediate step.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
It was a rough year.
Yeah, it was just the toughest I've ever had. I mean, the day after I was hospitalized the first time was our anniversary, so we're not counting that. But
it doesn't count.
That was not our best.
And I was on an airplane on Mother's Day to come see you.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
So.
But I got to spend a month in Colorado, so that's good.
Yeah, it's not all bad.
It's not all bad.
You didn't get to do the things you were doing.
No, but by the time I left, we were getting around a little bit.
I was, before you left, I was able to. What were my goals? I walked around the house for a while, and then my goal was to walk to the end of the sidewalk and back. And I think it was walking to the corner, wasn't I?
Yeah, you walked to the corner.
I walked to the corner and back before she left. And now this is a city block, so it's not big, but it was big for me. But that's my starting point. I started from nothing. And that first day after my first chemotherapy, I couldn't even get out of bed. I couldn't lift my head up. Actually, I wasn't awake, was I?
No, you pretty much slept. But even when after that kind of went away after the initial part of the treatment, you were just so weak. We had to help you stand up. We had to help you walk. You had to use a walker. Like you couldn't do that.
I couldn't shower.
Yeah, that's right.
I couldn't get out of bed. I was getting wiped down in the bed.
Yeah, and baby steps.
It was baby steps. Yeah,
baby steps. But also using the conventional treatments. Like I think that's another important thing. Yes, you've done a lot of foundational work, and throughout the duration of your chemotherapy, you were still eating the way you normally eat if you could, and then you were supplementing with a shake that it's a keto shake, and still trying to do as much movement as you could. But yeah, modern medicine exists for a reason, and this is that reason. Because so many people just get in their head, it's like, my food's going to fix everything, and this can do a lot, but it can't fix everything.
It can't do it all.
Yeah.
You can't do it all. You have to be, you have to plug in. You got to be, what are you going to do to help yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You got to help yourself. So.
And it's going to be a setback, but if you have the right mindset and the right work ethic, there's another side to it. There's the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. I knew all along that I was going to get better. Doctor told me I was going to get better. So what do I need to do? And we went after it.
Yeah. Yeah. I unfortunately have a comparable because not 2 months before all that happened, Mom passed away.
Yeah.
And that's just a story of going deeper and deeper into the hospital, further and further away from sunlight, a window. And her last room didn't even have a window. And that loss of hope. One day she had hope. They said they might be able to help her. And then the next day they said, we can't get the results for another week. And it just went downhill from there. Losing hope it changes the outcome.
It does, and that's really a sad story with your mom. And it was tough. And I mean, it had to be, I don't know how you felt. It had to be devastating for you, having just buried your mother.
It was not the easiest news to find out, and then to come see you and see the state, laying eyes on you and seeing the state that you were in with my own eyes.
That wasn't pretty.
Was a challenge, but I wasn't there for you. I was there for my stepmother, who was doing the brunt of the care.
Yes.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. you were a godsend. I mean, she wound up paying 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was a long haul.
All I need is this computer, and I can do whatever I need to do.
Yeah, you set up in our spare bedroom.
Yeah.
You continue to make do stories and interviews and things.
So, what would be the thing that you would want to tell the audience that maybe something you've learned through this experience?
Oh, well, I learned the value of having support. And I mean, I've always appreciated. I really appreciate it now. It's good to have people in your life who are going to support you, be there for you, nudge you along, urge you to do things. They did all that. Plus, they had to keep a pretty lengthy notebook of my medications.
My gosh. The organizational structure for that chart of medications.
There was a chart of medications. Yeah. I was taking something every hour and a half or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think support is one of it, and the drive to just stick with what you're doing, and you keep your glass half full, keep your mind focused on something in the future, and it gives you something to live for. It gives you something to do. I want to see Laura graduate. Now I'm not stopping there. I'm not going to figure out on the way back up to Colorado what it is, what I'm going to do next.
Well, she has to graduate again in 4 years.
So well, there's that.
There's that. Let's hope for that. We can't say when Mitchell will graduate. I think Laura will be in another 4 years. I almost forgot to ask this question. Did you tell your doctor the way you ate, about your low carb lifestyle at all? Did that ever come up in the conversation? Yeah.
He was supportive of it. One of the things I learned is cancer thrives on sugar. So so we minimize that. I'll get a carbs every once in a while, or and I eat a piece of fruit or two every day. But that's not hurting me. It's not affecting anything. All my numbers are great now. And it probably took 9 or 10 months before my metabolic numbers got back into the normal ranges, and they've been there ever since, and responding really well to treatment. So.
And you had markers. Let's talk about those markers, because that's pretty significant.
I don't know how high the scale goes. There's a test to do. It's called a CEA. I'm not 100% sure what that stands for. But it's just a value that measures tumor markers in your body. I had a tumor in my brain. I had a tumor in my liver. I had metastatic disease in my bones. And that first CEA came out as 47. And I don't know how high the scale goes, but 47. Excuse me, my last appointment with the doctor was just beginning of last week, and my CEA is 4.3. We're pretty happy with that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And also that you were on chemo, the way it was approached, the way the doctor approached it was he was extremely sick. He was on fire, and he needed to send in the firefighters to knock this down while they were figuring out the rest of the treatment and what to do. And it started off as being, you'll have 4. Was it 4? Was the first? They were going to have a round of 4.
I thought he said 6, but it stopped at 4.
But so as they were checking and they were seeing how this was working out, your body responded to it so well. And I think that's also part of your lifestyle, is that you respond well to the medicines. And so instead of 6, you only had 4. They did a scan and said, well, we'll do a scan and you might have to have 4 more. They did a scan and you didn't have to have 4 more.
No.
Then 4 months later, they did a scan again. And you didn't have to have 4 more.
No.
You haven't had to have any more.
They gave me, I went to my second appointment, I guess, and they said, you have EGFR. I said, well, I don't know what that means in relation to cancer, or I know what that means in case, to your kidney function. She said, well, you've just got some genes that are out of whack. She said, but the good news about you having EGFR is we have a targeted therapy for that. Mm-hmm. And so let's start it. And I tell you, I live in Boulder, Colorado. And healthcare is phenomenal in Boulder, Colorado. They said, well, before you can take this medication, you have to have some heart work done. I've forgotten what all they did. It was not an EKG, but they had a technician come in on a Saturday on Memorial Day weekend a year ago to do this for me. And they had,
exactly. It is a Saturday before Memorial Day right now. So exactly a year ago.
So yeah, it is exactly a year ago. And that person came in and they did that heart test. My doctor had the results and said, go ahead and start taking that medication, because it had come in the mail already. He said, go ahead and start it. And it's been amazing. It's been very beneficial to me. So it's,
you're a sick puppy when the doctors are opening up buildings on a holiday
weekend. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've gotten really good care. So that helped. And the doctors, he happens to be a really good guy. He gave us all a hug. I remember the hug.
Mm-hmm. He did. He stopped all 3 of us.
He gave all 3 of us a hug.
When we got there, you were in your wheelchair and Susan had a chair and I was standing, and he walked in the room and said, I'll be right back. And he left and he came back and he brought me a chair.
Yeah, that's the kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I didn't care. I could have stood. It wasn't a big deal, but, we certainly weren't in that appointment for me, but.
Well, I was in chemo one day, and this same doctor came in, was talking to a different patient, and the chemo room is just a big room of people plugged in, and he saw somebody that needed a blanket, and he went and got a warm blanket, went and covered that patient up, and then went on about his business. Mm-hmm. So, he's a really compassionate guy, very positive in his outlook. I've been able to have really frank conversations with him, and he told me I'll probably get 5 years out of the medication regimen no more, which is good news. And he said, then what do we do after that? He said, your next drug probably isn't even invented yet. So he said, but there's stuff out there already we can go to, and there'll be even better stuff by the time you reach that. So that's encouraging.
Yeah,
I got a lot to live for.
Yeah. It wasn't when we walked in, when I got there, when I saw my stepmother for the time after arriving, when I saw you sitting in the sick chair, they have a sick chair. Everybody uses the sick chair. We could not predict what the outcome was going to be at that moment, and it did not. It looked grim. It did. That's the honest truth.
Well, the doctor told me he didn't expect me to live.
Yeah.
He said, I was not sure that you were going to make it, but we were going to try.
Yeah. And it
Fooled him.
it showed, he has to have that "I showed you" attitude, and you did that.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to hope. It goes back to doing the small steps, the baseline steps. Like you were doing the baseline stuff. You were doing as tired as you were at least getting up and walking as far as you could. If that was just 5 steps, that was just 5 steps.
That was from the bedroom to the living room.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, if you could pick up something that had a little bit of weight to it, you would. Making sure you were keeping sugar out of your diet, all of those baseline things, being in a supportive environment, having hope, and the outcome is
standing on one foot.
Yeah, right. You every
Standing on
once in a
one
while, I catch him like up against the counter, like with his hands on the counter, and I'd be like, "What are you doing?" He'd say, "I'm standing on one foot," and then sure enough, he was standing on one foot.
Balancing.
And then later, he was able to take his hands off the countertop and stand on one foot.
And go, ta-da!
It was your magic trick.
That's my magic trick. Yeah. Look at me.
Well, I appreciate you taking a small moment out of our visit to this weekend to have this conversation. I feel like there's probably a lot more that we could get into, but what I wanted to get from this is that part is like there's work that you can do.
Absolutely,
there's always work that you can do, and do it beforehand, because you cannot predict what's going to happen, but you can be ready for it.
Things are going to happen, and you never know what it's going to be. I mean, I was floored when I found out my diagnosis, but I was really happy that I was healthy before that happened, because it happened very quickly. I mean, in 6 weeks, I had lost 26 pounds and was in a great deal of pain and all that in a 6-week period. And so it was really quick. And this genetic mutation that I had just allowed cancer to grow exponentially. It just exploded. Everywhere. And they were able to shut that down. And, you know, the rest of it's just been some hard work.
And by not feeding it any sugar, it didn't progress. It regressed. All of those markers regressed.
Yeah, my brain tumor's gone.
It's gone.
My liver tumor gone. And my bone has healed, and I don't have any sign of metastases at this point. You know, so that's all really good stuff.
It's really good. It's really good. Perhaps a miracle, but perhaps a little bit of work on your end as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I had quite the support team. You know, Susan, my wife, was there, and I put her nursing skills to the test.
I mean, yeah, it didn't hurt to be married to a nurse.
No, and your sister was there, and you know, and Susan's boys came in. I mean, I had a lot of support from family through August, maybe. Something like that. Yeah. And because and we needed that support. So, you know, you might be the person that needs to go help somebody else because they need you.
That's a good message too. Yeah. Another fantastic takeaway. You know someone who needs something, because not all of us have a familial support system like you have. So maybe you have someone close to you that needs some support.
We have, Susan and I have discussed this.
People have a hard time asking for help too.
Yeah. You know, how would a person who doesn't have this kind of support be handling this kind of disease and recovery? And it's hard. I don't have the answer to that. You know, you need to have somebody in your corner, somebody out there. You could be that person.
Yeah, for real. So that's the message today. Thanks again for taking some time to talk, and I'm super happy that you're still around and that you did the work and you didn't give up. Yeah, and that you continue to do the work and not give up.
I'm pretty pleased about that myself.
Yeah, you have a pat on the back for yourself. And thanks for listening to our Ketobiography. Bye.